Do you have a love-hate relationship with your deep freezer in your garage? I totally understand. I see you. I understand where you're coming from. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my freezer inventory system, which has helped me to maintain a healthy relationship with that guy. So when I first got this freezer, I really didn't want this to be just a catch-all for everything. I really wanted to avoid that mistake that most of us make, that this just becomes a dumping ground for sale meats or things you think you're going to use or produce from the garden. So I invested in some of these shopping boxes on Amazon, which fit really, really well in this freezer. And so I have, one for beef, for pork, chicken, veggies, etc. And so these are stacked nicely and neatly in there. So I know that this one might have chicken or whatever, right? So, but it's been kind of a mental inventory. I know that it's been organized, so I know that this is where I can find chicken, and this is where I can find hamburger or whatever. So I know where things are situated in this guy, but as far as the quantities, I haven't really done that. I've had kind of a mental thing going on where I've just been keeping track of that in my mind. I wrote down some of my goals today because I am a planner and I want to make sure I am achieving my goals today. So first one is to do a complete inventory of this freezer. So everything that's in there, I've got a couple of tables set up here. Take things out and I'm going to be making my list up on that whiteboard. That's goal number one, right? And then next, I want to be planning for how to use the items in here. So I've got some things that are kind of getting to the end of life, or just I've had this for a year or more. I want to come up with a plan to use or preserve them. But also I want to think about what's in there. So there's some produce from my garden. I'm beginning to plan for my garden for this year. So I want to understand, okay, what are we eating? What are we not eating? What should I grow and what do I need to just hold steady? I don't need to grow it this year. So I do want to be thinking about that. So as I plan for my garden this year, what do I need to do to fill gaps for what I have in my freezer? And of course, I'm going to be making some soup with all the remnants that we find. So, all right, my tables are set up. I'm going to pop on some gloves and let's get started. All right, let me show you the inside of my freezer. Now again, this is a 7.0 cubic foot Magic Chef deep freezer. And so I have those shopping boxes, I have them 3 deep and 2 across, right? And so I've got 6 of them here. And then in this section is where I put all of my freezer meals. Now I do my freezer meals in these Pyrex individual portions. And at some point I will do a whole video on my freezer meal system. So some of them have ended up here. They don't belong there. Mr. belongs here. So I need to do some rotation there. I need to move some other things here to make room so I can actually fit all of my freezer meals on this side. And one of my other goals is to rotate all of these, which I really do, like, I don't know, every other month or so. But there are some that are on top from December that need to be brought to the bottom, and there's other ones below there that need to be eaten. So I'm going to just take some of these out and start doing my sorting. So before I get started really doing a lot of major inventory, one of the things I do know is in this box, the shopping box, I have my turkey carcass from Thanksgiving. I need to pull that out. I'm going to bring it to the kitchen and I want to get some turkey stock going while I'm doing all this so that that can be ready for when I find all the other components that are going to be part of that freezer soup. These collapsible shopping boxes are amazing and I absolutely love them. They are definitely a game changer for organizing my freezer. I also like them for shopping. They fit in the back of my car really, really well. So I've seen these available locally, but I will add the link in the description box for the ones that I bought from Amazon. They're really sturdy and they kind of have this vinyl covering, so it makes them waterproof. So they are perfect for how I'm using them in my freezer. You know, a couple of years ago, my freezer in the house was making a horrible sound and actually stopped working. So we called the fridge repair person to come out and take a look at it, and he said that the air was not circulating in the freezer and that ice had formed on the condenser fan. I think that's what it was. And so he replaced that, and he recommended that we get a small, inexpensive chest freezer to be able to clean out some of the things that were in the house fridge. And boy, I was really surprised at how much I had packed in. I had no idea. So from that day forward, I decided that I wanted to really make sure that I was controlling the inventory in both my kitchen freezer and my garage freezer. Now, the freezer in the house needs to make sure that there's enough airflow, but the chest freezer actually functions better when it is about 80% or so full. So that worked really, really well. So if you're looking for a way to improve the airflow in your regular freezer, getting a small, inexpensive chest freezer might be the best thing for you. Speaking of my freezer, it really is an inexpensive one from Home Depot. It's 7 cubic feet and it's made by Magic Chef. I'll link that in the description box too if you're looking for that one, but definitely was not a high-end model. I am able to stack 6 of these shopping boxes in there, so we've got 2 stacks of 3. I really love being able to sort like things together, so it keeps my freezer nice and neat. And then the space over here on the right, this little section here, is great for our make-ahead freezer meals. We like to put those in those single-serving Pyrex dishes, and they stack perfectly in here. It's just a matter of making sure that I rotate first in, first out every now and then. But I'll talk to you more about my freezer meal system in a future episode because that's a whole topic in and of itself. Now, as far as what is in the shopping boxes, that's what I'm interested in getting more organized today. So with these 6 totes on my whiteboard, I've actually numbered them 1 through 6 in the order that they are in the freezer. And then that way I can list in there. So box number 1 has, I'll count how many bags of frozen peas I have with the quantities. And then as we pull something out of the freezer, it'll be really easy just to change the inventory. And so I always know how much I have in the freezer. So about this whiteboard, I actually did not purchase this for this project. I think I found it in the dumpster at work, but you can find these at thrift stores or like me doing a little dumpster diving because whiteboards are kind of expensive. So if you find one for free or on Marketplace or FreeCycle or wherever, that is great. But if you can't find one, boy, a good old clipboard with the pencil and paper works just as well. Lala, yes, it's still pretty full. I would say I was able to clean out a few things. There were only 2 things I think that had some freezer burn that I had to throw away, but everything else is still in pretty good shape, but at least it's all organized, right? And all of my freezer meals have been rotated. I did just take a photo of those so I would know what was at the bottom. Anyway, looks good. Pretty excited to be able to have everything inventory. So I have this box number 1, maybe it's hard to see because it's reflecting. Box number 1 is miscellaneous. So this ended up being bags of leftovers and things that I know I need to eat soon that were ending up in the bottom. So it's great to have those pulled together. I have number 2 is poultry. Then we have fish and salsa, which I love you, but I didn't have as much fish to fill up a whole bin, but I had lots of salsa that David made. And then I have 2 bins of veggies, which was great. And the first one says veggies and dairy because I'm going to be able to keep my cream cheese. I do have some butter in the kitchen fridge. I want to bring it out here and put that in the freezer, so that will be added to the bin number 4. just more veggies, and then we have pork and beef. And of course, peach salsa, because you know, I have room. So, but at least I will know where it is. But this is going to be really, really helpful for me as I start thinking about gardening next year as to what do I have room for? What do I need to use up? And this is going to be really, really helpful for me as I start planning for garden season, because there are a lot of things that need to be used up between now and when I begin harvesting. All right, so now that we have the inventory complete, let's head on inside and start making some soup. So originally I was just going to make some turkey bone broth, which was going to be the base of my freezer soup, which I was then going to can, but I also found this gallon-sized bag of gravy from Thanksgiving dinner. Now, because this has cornstarch in it, I cannot can it. So I'm just changing things up a bit, and I'm going to go ahead and make the bone broth, have the gravy in there, and then as I find things, I'm just going to be throwing them in a little willy-nilly, and then we're just going to eat this over the course of this next week. So I'm not going to can it, but I'm going to make a delicious soup that we're going to enjoy for dinner. So now I'm just going to add just some plain water. I'm going to wash off those ice crystals and hoping I can salvage this turkey and it's not too freezer burned. We shall see. And I'm going to turn it on 350 to get this going. Okay, so I have some random things that I'm going to be adding to this soup. And I just want to encourage you, just take whatever you have in your freezer. Now that I have the broth and the meat, I'm just going to be adding in these things that I have on hand. And we'll see, I might add in some, I do have some carrots in the fridge. I might add those too. Let's see. I have some diced celery. It's nice and frosty. I'm not worried about ice crystals on these things. This is some zucchini from the garden. Just add that all in. Oh, this is beautiful. This is a bunch of kale from my neighbor's garden. I'm just going to dump it all in. This is going to be a very green, very green soup. And that's okay. That'll cook down a lot. And then I have this opened bag of asparagus. Actually, I'm just going to take a minute and chop these because those are full spears. I have this wee little bag of instant mashed potatoes. I'm just going to add that in here. A little pouch. Why not? That's some sour cream and chives. Very small bag of peas. And a bag of just pasta. Break it up a bit. Let's mix this up. All right, and now I'm gonna take a second and chop up this asparagus. I wonder if I can break it like this. Oh, sure. Just break those guys up. I mean, that's kind of just this massive block, right? Very frosty. That's okay. Like I said, every time I make this soup, it is a different variety. I'm trying to think of what I want to season this with all that asparagus and kale. I feel like it's going to be really green, so it's like maybe balance it with, might even put some cream in there. Break up some. So there's some pasta in there. I think I even have some rice. I think I have some rice in my freezer. Yeah, let's have some jasmine rice. I'm just gonna throw that in there too. So we had a little party at our house. I have a veggie tray. I'm not going to put the broccoli in, but I'm going to put all the carrots in. I just dumped all my veggies into one Ziploc bag. Let's throw all those carrots in. Right. That looks good. We'll save the rest of these for a stir fry. I have a red onion that's in my fridge that I want to use up. Some garlic, very good, I don't know, 4 cloves. I haven't added any salt or pepper yet because the gravy had salt in it. So I want to let this cook for a bit and then I will taste it. Yeah, it smells very good. Look how hearty that is, right? I know you might be thinking this is a lot of kale. It's going to taste very green. Right. I'm just going to give a little taste and see how much salt I need to add to it first. Oh, that tastes really, coming from the freezer, it tastes very fresh with all of that kale and the asparagus. It's really good. Now I have in my pantry I have just some remnants of some wine. We had some friends over, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add in some of this white wine. It's probably a half a cup, and this was Chardonnay. Add some pepper. A little bit of salt. This is just Redmond's real salt. Probably, I don't know, half a teaspoon. I had some vegetable stock in my fridge I need to use too. Let's add that. It's pretty good. I feel like it needs something though. I'm not sure what. Okay, it doesn't necessarily need more salt, but I want to add some more of this. I want to add some of this organic no salt seasoning. Yeah, that'll be good. Probably a good teaspoon. And some just extra thyme, because we all need more thyme. There. Oh my goodness, does this smell amazing. Now I did add in a few more carrots because I felt like I needed to balance out all of the green. And I chopped up some of the asparagus because it was kind of large, so I cut those up. And I did add in some of this tomato bouillon with chicken because I felt like it needed a little bit more, another flavor profile. I felt like it was very, very green tasting. The wine definitely helped, but I felt like it needed that tomato acidy kind of savory element. So I added that in. So this is about done. And I'm gonna go ahead and finish this off with some heavy cream. And I don't usually do that, but because I also had this in the fridge and I want to use it up, I probably have about, I don't know, about a cup. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add that in and finish that off, because cream always makes things beautiful and sweet. Like I said, I rarely have that in the house, so it's kind of nice to be able to use that up too. All right, let's give that a stir. Now it's just this creamy vegetable turkey soup. I wish you could smell this. It smells so good. But again, when you make this with whatever's in your freezer, don't be afraid to just play around with different flavors. Yes, I have some pasta in there. In fact, I'll break those guys up a little bit. I've got some rice, but just use what you have. Doesn't that look amazing? Yum. All right, so let's let that heat through and then we'll give it a taste. Okay, I just gave this a little taste and it is so, so good, but I feel like it needs a little bit more acid. So I'm going to put in some lemon juice. Just a good splash of that. Let's mix that up. I did add in that wine, but I feel like it really needs it needed a little bit more of just something to balance out that flavor. Oh, I wish you could smell this. I go through a lot of taster spoons. All right, let's go ahead and give this a taste. Yes, that is what it needed. It needed a little bit of lemon juice just to brighten it. Oh, delicious. All right, I'm gonna cover this up, let it simmer a bit, get that warmed through, and dinner will be ready. Okay, I seriously wish you could smell this soup. It is phenomenal, and this is gonna be so good. We're having it for dinner tonight, but we're gonna also have it for lunch for the rest of this week. I mean, look at that, creamy. We just add, let's get a little sprinkle. If I can do this one-handed, just gonna sprinkle a little bit of nutmeg on the top. Seriously, like how good does that look? Yum. So if you make this, please leave in the comments below what you found in your freezer, what you added to make your delicious freezer soup. Please try this. It's so good. I am so glad I took the time today to do this inventory. Now, it really only took about an hour, and yes, my hands got a little bit cold, but so worth it to know, what do I have in this big guy, right? So now I know I can start making my meal plans based on what I have, and I don't have to worry about things going to waste. I hate wasting food, and I know you probably do too. So this will help me go through this inventory, clean out my freezer, and be able to get ready for garden season so the fresh food can come in. And I'm sure that you will see in future episodes, some of these things will make another appearance and we'll be able to cook them together. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please consider subscribing, hit the like button and the notification bell so you don't miss another episode. And until next time, everyone, take care. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my freezer inventory system that has helped me maintain a healthy relationship with this guy. So close. Let's try that again. Let's try that again. All right.